Hello everyone, welcome back to Imprix, and this is the video walkthrough of passage 1 from Cambridge 16, test 3. As usual, we will read the paragraph first and then we will deal with the questions. Now let's focus on the paragraph and see what is it about. So, Roman shipbuilding and navigation. Shipbuilding today is based on science, and ships are built using computers and sophisticated tools. Okay, sophisticated means complicated, yeah, very developed, strong tool. So, shipbuilding in ancient Rome, however, was more of an art, relying on estimation, inherited techniques, and personal experience. It was not really computer thing, but rather more of a personal skills, yeah. The Romans were not traditional sailors, but mostly land-based people who learned to build ships from people that they conquered, namely the Greeks and Egyptians. Okay, cool. I've got the main idea about what's really happening here. Now let's see the questions. We've got true, false, not given questions and summary complete sentence completion. So the first question is, the Roman shipbuilding skills were passed to the Greeks and Egyptians. Well, that's actually a false statement, and let me explain why the answer is false. So here it said the Romans were not traditional sailors, but mostly land-based people. They were not really into building, ships and something, and they learned to build ships from the people that they conquered, yeah, that they won, and they were Greeks and Egyptians, yeah. Shibboleths were passed. No, it wasn't passed on to Greeks, but rather they learned how to uh, build ships from Greeks and the Egyptians. That's it. So the answer for our first question is from here. Next one. There were a few surviving written documents that give the description and representations of ancient Roman ships, including the sails and rigging. Excavated vessels also provide some clues about ancient building techniques. Students' studies of these have taught us that ancient Roman shipbuilders built the outer hull first, then process it with the frame, and then the rest of the ship. Planks used to be built, the outer hull were initially sewn together, Starting from the 6th century BCE, they were fixed using a method called mortise, yeah, and tenon. Yeah, okay, they are kind of termines, I think, yeah. So whereby one plank locked into another without the need for stitching. Ah, now clear. Okay, then in the first centuries of the current era, Mediterranean shipbuilders shifted to another shipbuilding method. They changed their method, still in use today. So this method that they have changed it to, or still in use today, is still in use today, which consisted of building the frame first and then proceeding with the hull and other components of the ship. So the main thing that they did was they're gonna build the frame first and then they do the rest. This method was more systematic and dramatically shortened ship construction times. The ancient Romans built large merchant ships and warships whose size and technology were unequaled until 16th century BC. Like there was nothing comparable to that building, That's what the passage is trying to say. So let's go through the questions. Skilled craftsmen were needed for the mortise and tenon method of fixing planks. So we had these terms, yeah. So planks used to be built outer hull were originally sewn together. Starting from the 6th century BC, they were fixed using a method called so actually there's no information about uh, a need to build, uh, the ship using those methods. The answer is not given. Let's proceed and see the next one. The later practice used by Mediterranean shipbuilders involved building the hull before the frame. But rather, look at this one. They built the frame first and then they did the rest. That's why the answer for our third question is going to be false. Yeah, our answer is false because it's saying the opposite. Like that's a really straightforward one. Mediterranean shipbuilders involved building the hull before the frame. The frame was built first, and then The hull and other components of the ship were done. The Romans called the Mediterranean Sea more nostrum because they dominated its use. We haven't read about it yet. What about this one? Warship and merchant ships. Warships were designed so that they were something and moved quickly. So I think they're here, yeah. So warships. Was it warship? Yeah, I read it like warship, sorry. Okay, warships were built to be lightweight and very speedy. They had to be able to sail near the coast, which is why they had no ballast or excess load. Yeah, a lot of things, yeah. They were built with a long, narrow hull. They did not sink when damaged and often would lie crippled on the sea surfaces following naval battles. They had a bronze battering ram, which was used to pierce the timber hulls or break the oars of enemy walls. Yeah, that was like used in the war environment where you are destroying someone's let's say warships, yeah? Okay. Warships used both wind, sails, and human power, oarsmen, and were therefore very fast. Eventually, Romans' navy became the largest and most powerful in the Mediterranean, and the Romans had control over what they therefore called Mare Nostrum, meaning our sea. Okay, okay. Let's see. The Romans called the Mediterranean Sea because they dominated its use. Yeah, they controlled it. Yeah. The answer is going to be true for our question. And the answer for our fourth question is coming from here. Most rowers on the ship were people from the army. Rowers is like fighters, not like fighters who control the ship, who ride the ship. Yeah, that's what we can call. Kema haydovchilar, okay? O'zi eshkak bilan haydaydi kemani komanda bo'lib turib 1 2 1 2 deb xuddi o'sha narsa aytilyapti bu yerda rowers, yeah. What about this one? Warships were designed so that they were something and moved quickly. They were lightweight, yeah? The first sentence telling what the answer really is. Okay. Our answer for the question 6 is coming from here. They often remained afloat after battles and were able to sail close to land as they lacked any traditional weight. A battering ram made of something, okay. They had a bronze battering ram made of bronze. Okay. The answer for the question 7 is also from here. Next one. For attacking and damaging the timber and oars of enemy ships. Warships, which is the Terrier, had rowers on 3 different something. Let's continue reading. There were many kinds of warship. The Trine was dominant warship from the 7th to uh to 4th century BCE. It had rowers on top, middle, and lower levels, and approximately 50 rowers in each bank. The rowers at the bottom had the most uncomfortable position as they were under the other rowers and were expected to the water entering through the oar holes. It's worth noting that contrary to popular perceptions, although like this phrase means, although people think in this way, rowers were not slaves, but mostly Roman citizens. So the people who worked in ships were not slaves. They were the ones who were, Roman citizens, enrolled in the military. They were military people, yeah. The Troy was superseded by larger ships with even more rowers. Superset is like it became greater, yeah? It became very, very great. Wars such as Triumph had doors on 3 different levels, yeah? So it's saying it had rowers in the top, middle, and wood and lower levels. So the answer is levels. Unlike warships, merchant ships had a broad that they far below the surface of the sea. Okay, let's continue reading. We haven't read about it yet. Um, what about this one? Most rowers on the ship were people from the Roman army. Of course, the answer is true. because here it said Roman citizens enrolled in the military, like this one. Yeah. Rowers were not slaves, but mostly Roman citizens who enrolled in the military. The answer for the question five is coming from here. And we are done with the true, false, not even questions. Now let's fully focus on these questions. Okay. And the next one, so merchant ships were built to transport lots of cargo over long distances and at a reasonable cost. Okay. They had a wider hull, double planking and a solid interior for added stability. Unlike warships, their V-shaped hull was deep underwater, meaning that they could not sail too close to the coast. They usually had two huge side rudders located off the stern and controlled by a small tiller bar connected to a system of cables. They had from one to three mats with large square sails and a small triangular sail at the bow. Okay, so it's basically saying they had from one to three mats with large square sails and a small triangular sail at bow. Mm-hmm. A bit unclear. Okay. Just like warships, merchant ships used oarsmen, but coordinating the hundreds of rowers in both types of ship was not an easy task. In order to assist them, music would be played on an instrument, and oars would use them, then keep time with this. Okay, let's continue. So unlike warships, merchants had a broad, okay, wider hull. That's not really hull. I wouldn't say this is hull. Or is it the hull? Yep. They had a wider hull. It's synonymous with a broad hull, and that lay far below the surface of the sea. Okay, that lay far below the city. It basically double banking, solid interior to for added stability. That's like a foundation, you know. What about this one? They had both square and was it triangular, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah. Look at this one. You see? Triangular. On the next one, on merchant ships, warships, namadar was used to ensure rowers moved their oars in and out of the water at the same time. And that was coming from here. In order to assist them, music was played, yeah? Music was used. The answer for the question 12 is also here. Let's continue. The cargo and merchant ships include raw material, these, and agricultural products. During the empire, Rome was a huge city by ancient standards of about 1 million inhabitants. Like they were about 1 million people. Goods from all over the world would come to the city through the port of Pozzuoli, situated west of the bay, and Naples in Italy, and through the gigantic port of Ostia, situated at the mouth of the Tribe River. Uh-huh. Large merchant ships would approach the destruction port and, just like today, be intercepted by a number of towboats that would drag them to the quay. So, quantities of agricultural goods such as something were produced by merchant ships. Mm-hmm. Is it like agricultural products? Not this one, not this one, sorry. Quantities of agricultural, how do we say, products? No, that's not really the case. That's not agricultural products. It's already here actually. Quantities of agricultural products such as something. Oh, grain. I didn't notice it. Grain is like dawn, you know, or transported by merchant ships to two main ports in Italy. Okay, next one. The ships were pulled to the shore by something or by somebody. Okay, towboats, yeah. Towboat that would drag them to the quay. Like those towboats will get them back to to the arriving place, we can say. So yeah, we are done with the passage. I like the passage overall. So guys, don't forget to do how to say uh mistake table. It helps you a lot. For example, like you're gonna say passage and question. Okay, we had a first question, yeah? The Romans bills being passed on the walls to the Greeks and Egyptian. Okay, the answer is this one. And the question is this one. Okay, we've got a first question. And where did it come from? It came from right from here, yeah? Okay. You can compare what's really going on here as well. Okay, yeah. And the answer for this one was false. And now you can see the differences, much better. That's the point. And the next one, it's not given. Let's take this one as well. Okay, the question was number 3. Mm-hmm. That probably came from here, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, this one. We found it. Okay, question number 3, 2 was not given. That's it. We're on the right track. The next one, question 3. The answer, we did question 3 right now, actually, sorry. What about question 4? Let's check question 4, whether it was the right answer for us or not. Yes, yes, you see. Everything is super connected in here, in this reading. Reading is nothing but a test of your vocabulary. If you know vocabulary, if you know how things are being paraphrased, you'll have a pretty easy time when you are dealing with these questions. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, guys, the video. See you in our next videos.